Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Football Focus, the Monday night evening show, wrapping up all things football, mainly Manchester United. May talk about other things here and there, and lots to get stuck into, guys. So much stuff breaking out at the moment. It's a pretty interesting time to be a Manchester United fan at the moment, a very frustrating time to be a Manchester United fan at the moment, but just before we get into all this, if you are watching now or watching later down the line, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, how's everybody doing? It's pretty hot out there right now, guys. I've got a fan right here, so if you can hear a little bit of a buzz, let me know. I'll turn it off because I am sweating. But let's get on with the show. The title of the thumbnail was Glazers Are Running Scared, and running scared they are right now. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with who the TRA is at Old Trafford. They are a section of fans at the stadium that are dedicated to singing, showing support nonstop. And if you want to be in that group, you need to be singing, chanting nonstop throughout the game. The chants and songs you hear throughout the whole game of when you're watching Manchester United at home is usually from the TRA. So a very, very important group to our fan base and to have at the games. They really, really come and set the tone and set the atmosphere for our games. But the Glazers are now trying to shut this down. So this is a tweet from a guy called Paul X Mank Baldenbread. He's got quite a few followers on Twitter, and he says the TRA is now classified as a risk group, not running for Palace or Galatasaray. So it looks like they're trying to calm down the TRA. They are really big vocal supporters against the Glazers as well. So it looks like over the past few days, the Glazers are trying to reduce the amount of protests, reduce the amount of voices being heard at Manchester United at the moment. It goes on to say that on Tuesday, a meeting was held with football's 25 representatives of the TRA member group and decision of the TRA for the Crystal Palace and the Galatasaray games under previous conditions was voted unanimously as a risk group, I guess. So. Sorry, it's a big cut off, so I'm missing a few words there. So maybe it's just for these two games, or maybe they're looking to, big ups, man. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. Yes. So maybe it's just for these two games. It could be going on forward, but it seems like whatever the Glazers want to do to shut down these protests, they don't care about these protests. We've done sit-ins, but they're trying to quiet down the fan base and more specifically, quiet down that section of fans in the TRA from chanting Glazers out and showing their support against the Glazers. It's getting a bit pathetic, guys. Comment down below Glazers out so I can know everyone here hates them as much as everyone else. Anyway, it's an interesting article, and I don't know why they're trying to, I guess a good word would be they're trying to censor our fans. And I don't know how you do that. For the Galatasaray game, I can maybe understand why it's a bit of a problem because I don't know if anybody here watches like the Turkish league. Galatasaray away, that is an intense game right there, guys. One of the most intense stadiums you can go to in Europe. Their fans are insane. And I guess they maybe just want to minimize maybe any violence or anything like that. But when it comes to the Premier League, I don't understand why they want them to be censored for games like Crystal Palace. Like, what the hell is going on down there that we need to censor our most beloved part of our fan base in the TRA? We need to hear their voices. So I'm just trying to get a better light on it. It's a bit dark, guys. Getting a bit dark out there now. Anyway, it's a bit frustrating, and I hope the TRA does come out on top because I love hearing them through the TV. I don't get to go to many games, and just hearing what they do through the channels makes me pumped up for our games, and we need them there, not just to get our players and the rest of the stadium into the game, but to voice against our shit owners. So yeah, guys, comment below. Let me know. Do you think the Glazers are hiding, running away, and trying to quiet down all these protests? Okay, I know they're hiding. They live in a damn other country and don't ever talk to us. But it looks like they're now trying to take it a step further and quiet down these protests and our voices. And it's a bit frustrating at the moment. But yeah, the frustration doesn't end there, guys. The frustration does not end there. So Antony having a lot of issues right now. I'm sure everyone's seen the club statement about Antony not playing for the club right now while this investigation is going on, from one investigation to another. So they had his ex came out with a statement, and then 2 more came out as well. Antony has also gone on a channel and done an interview denying all these allegations. It's getting a little bit ugly, guys. There's also getting to the point where they're going to be sharing like WhatsApp chats and all that. Everything Antony says was consensual. He has all the WhatsApp messages to prove that it was consensual. They've only met once. A lot of weird stuff here. But coming from the club, it seems like they can't approach us the same way as Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood had a lot more stuff in the public, pictures, audio, where the Antony one is being played out more in the public, but there's not much evidence to go on at the moment. So I think the club is letting him go away to get this resolved soon. It's looking like the club wants this resolved very, very soon to get him back into the squad. I feel like they don't feel like he's done anything wrong. I cannot say that. I can't say he's innocent or guilty. There's allegations, guys. They've got to abide by the rules, the investigations, and it's not right for him to play. And a lot of people go like, well, other teams allow their players to play while being investigated. Look at Arsenal. They've had a player, I think we all know who that player is as well, currently being investigated for similar offenses, but he is also playing in the games. Look, guys, we're one of the biggest clubs in the world. As soon as something happens, it's everywhere. It's plastered everywhere. So it's going to happen, and it's best for their mental health. Yeah, Esther, we're all getting fed up here. It's getting a bit ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. There will be some light at the end of the tunnel. Don't worry. We've got good news coming up as well. It's not all doom and gloom. But at the moment, it's I don't get what's going on with our players and why they need to be acting this way. But from my understanding and from what I am seeing from the club side is that they're going to try and get this resolved as fast as possible. Now, that could mean a few weeks, a few months. It could mean next season. I don't know. Antony hasn't been charged with anything. There's an investigation going on here in Manchester and in Brazil. But without the sufficient evidence, they're going off, WhatsApp chats. I don't know how long this could possibly take, but from my understanding, they want to get it wrapped up very, very quickly. So Antony could be back sooner than people think, and I think it was the right decision to take him out of the firing line. We can't have him going to opposition stadiums. Fans, they're going to be on him like crazy. He will get the abuse that he has never seen before in his life. So it's good he's taken a step back. I'm looking forward to see what we do. If you haven't yet, the video I put out yesterday is what my preferred or best starting 11 is. And I think once we get back some of our injured players like a Mason Mount, I think Mason Mount could easily slot in on that right-hand side and give us a bit more stability in possession and give us some things that Antony did not provide. And I'm also looking at Pellistri. Now, I know a lot of people also mention Ahmad, but Ahmad is still currently injured for a little bit of time still. So we're not going to see him back anytime soon. So I think we'll see Pellistri and maybe even Mount. And I think Mount would be a great player to take Antony's spot, because him and Bruno can swip swap from the 10 to the right wing, no problem during a game. A similar how we used to have our front line swapping, like when we had Greenwood, Rashford, and Martial, they would always constantly flip-flop their positions. I think we could do the same with Mount and Bruno. I think that's the best way we can get them into the game. So yeah, it may not be all bad. I think it's good that Antony takes a step away, deals with this, and he'll be back, I think, sooner than people expect. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, guys, Antony might not be out for as long as we think. I think the club are trying to fast track this and get him back as soon as possible. Some big news, guys, just breaking out now. Whether it could be true or not, we'll go off it. This is a bit of a news show. Most of my things are a news show, so we will talk about this. So this is coming out of the Mirror and the Daily Express. I think I have the headline right here, guys. Woo, check it out, guys. Jadon Sancho. This literally came out half hour ago, 40 minutes ago. So this is breaking news right now, guys. Where am I going? Right over here. Sorry about these dots in my face. I can't do anything about it right now. Jadon Sancho set to leave Manchester United as Erik ten Hag shows ruthless edge again in talks. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, Esther. Yeah, the Greenwood saga. I mean, Greenwood needed to go, but I think if you've seen what I've said, I think he will be back in a year's time. I think they're either going to try to sell him after a year, or he might come play again and let everything that he's done die off a bit. Antony's a whole different story. These are two completely different things. Everything that happened to Antony was not played out in public the same way Mason Greenwood's, yet Antony's investigation is more in the public than Mason Greenwood's. Mason Greenwood's evidence was everywhere, the audio and the pictures. So it's a completely different thing. We got to give them the same treatment, but we can't look at them as the same type of case, I guess. Both of them, I think it's right for both of them to be away from the club while this is happening. So I'm just glad Manchester United has actually done that. But anyway, let's move on. Enough about Antony. Let's talk about Sancho. So it looks like Sancho is going to try and leave. It says right here, he's going to try and leave in January, and most likely that will be on a loan. It'll be very hard to sell Jadon Sancho in that January window. And a team that looks like is coming to the forefront is Borussia Dortmund, the team we bought him from for 75 fucking million pounds or whatever. Yeah, I guess the talks today didn't go that well. That's what I'm getting at here. The talks with Ten Hag did not go that well, but that's good. I'm glad that Erik ten Hag is putting his foot down. We need to make sure that the players understand that they are not bigger than the club. They don't come and run how this club is, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense, to be honest. But anyway, Erik ten Hag is the boss. He decides what happens on the field, I guess off the field a bit as well. So I'm glad that this is happening. I think this should happen. I think he needs to get out of this club. He's ruined it already. He's gone against the manager. We saw what happened when Ronaldo went against the manager. He has no time for this, guys. He's going to get rid of you. And if you're disrupting the dressing room, that's a double down and you're out. This is disrupting everything. And I hate all the slack that Ten Hag gets. And we're going to cover that in just a minute, actually. But it's just getting a bit ridiculous. But yeah, I think I think everything's ridiculous right now. That's like my go-to thing. Everything is ridiculous. But yeah, I think it's right that Jadon Sancho is gone. He's undermined the manager. He's let down his teammates. That post is still up on his Twitter, so he does not give a shit. Yeah, it's time for him to go. Simple as that. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you think it's time for him to go? Comment down below in the comments. It's an interesting thing with Jadon Sancho. I think he's had his chances under a few different managers. He's had similar issues at Dortmund and with the England camp. So I don't think it's surprising everything that's going on. What's surprising is that he's been very vocal about it. And I don't really care about the stuff that's been said about him behind the scenes, like him being a bit quiet or a bit rude. That's just some people's personality. But when you start slagging off the manager on Twitter or on, I don't know, Instagram or whatever social media you want to use, that's a whole other story. And I think it becomes untenable at that point, and he's got to leave. and will do well to find him a club. Um, yeah, I think they're both good. It's just a shame. This is what I was, Esther, I don't know if you thought about this, but what if Sancho waited a couple hours to post that? That right wing position would be his right now. If he knew that Antony, all this nonsense was going to be coming out with Antony, and he would be getting suspended from the team, Sancho should have just kept his mouth shut for 12 fucking hours, and that right wing would have been his. But he had to put that on Twitter. Now he's lost his spot and looks like he's lost his place in the team and will be out of the team come January, if not come summer. I don't know if Erik ten Hag will play him in between that time. I don't think he really can, because that's just showing all the other players that you can get away with this kind of stuff, and we need to have an actual backbone. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a soap opera, guys. We're at high school. But yeah, Sancho looks to be out of the squad come January completely, whether on loan or completely sold. Sancho is going, and that's coming from the Daily Express and the Mirror. This came out about 40 minutes ago, guys. So breaking news. Yeah, and just the last little bit I wanted to touch on, guys, is all this abuse and hate that Erik ten Hag is getting at the moment from just pundits, mainly everyone's most bitter asshole pundit out there. His name is Graham Souness. And somehow what's going on, I'm sure right now, is Pogba's fault, because that was his go-to thing. Everything was Pogba's fault. But he's come out now saying he doesn't rate or doesn't believe he doesn't rate any of Erik ten Hag's signing. He's not convinced by any of them, whether it's Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund, whether it's Andre Onana, Amrabat. He's just ripping it all, man. He's just ripping everything, which is who made this grandpa so angry, bro? Did Manchester United or Ferguson go out in the 90s, 80s and give this boy a whooping or something, where he just completely has to hate on everything this club does? Yeah, I know we're not in a good spot, but to rip on the signings that have barely even featured so far is insane. He did the same last year when he said Casemiro, a guy who's won 5 Champions Leagues, called him a steady Eddie. What? That was one of the most craziest comments I've seen. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, he's not the only one. Jamie Carragher's done it. Even Gary Neville is starting to get on it. Gary Neville's the most odd Manchester United alumni ex-player there is. He tries so hard to be cool with everyone that his own fans start to hate him. And he even makes his career sound like shit, even though he was one of the best right backs in the league. But yeah, just everyone piling in on Erik ten Hag. But we have to forget, or we don't have to forget, but we have to remember everything that Erik ten Hag has had to put up with since joining the club. And should we go through them all? Let's go. We had Ronaldo. Remember him leaving the Spurs game, getting into a row, doing the whole Piers Morgan thing. That was a bunch of nonsense. Then we have the Mason Greenwood stuff that didn't take place when Erik ten Hag was a coach, but had to deal with it once he became the coach and just now got over with. 2 things. Let's go. Let's keep going. Harry Maguire taking the captaincy off of him, basically not playing him at all last year. That was another big row. Injuries, absolute riddled with injuries at the moment. Let's see, we've got Varane, Martinez injury, Luke Shaw injured. We've had Amrabat's injured. Rasmus Højlund was injured all this season, guys, and we're only 4 fucking games in. We've got this Antony thing going on right now, guys. We've had this Jadon Sancho thing going on at the moment, guys. It's just nonstop drama at the moment, and you have to feel for Erik ten Hag dealing with all this. It's no other coach has to deal with this kind of shit, and he, I think, is really, really working hard to get this house in line, because for the last 10 years since Fergie has left, players have run this team. has run this club. Every coach got 1 year of good backing and absolute power, and then the second year, that all goes away. No backing, no power. All the power goes back to the players. So, yeah, it's a bit... I don't think these pundits really take in all the crap Erik ten Hag deals with on a daily basis at the moment, because it never seems to end. And I'm sure there's more things. Oh, and the sale. So it's about 8 things that are going on in the background Erik ten Hag has to deal. I didn't even mention the sale, and that's the biggest damn thing going on at the moment. So just sick of all these people ripping on ten Hag. It makes no sense to me. But yeah, let me know what you think down below, guys. To hell with these pundits. To hell with Graham Souness making fun of Erik ten Hag, trying to rag on our players that have barely even featured. Rasmus Højlund. Oh, speaking of Rasmus Højlund, sorry, I forgot to touch it. Did you guys see his speech he gave to the Denmark fans after qualifying for the Euros, saying we're fucking going to the Euros? He grabbed the mic, the teleprompt mic thing, whatever, the megaphone, and just laid it into the Denmark fans, getting them all hyped up. I love this guy. He's played 30 minutes for this team, but I love him already. He's going to be a cult hero at this team. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It will fire you up, and I hope he does something similar for us when he scores his first goal. But yeah, anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you just tuning in now, go back and watch more shit about the Glazers, more shit about Sancho, Antony. We've got stuff about pundits on Ten Hag. Go back and watch all of this, and don't forget to hit that subscribe. I'm here every Monday evening at 7 p.m. just running through some Manchester United news. There's no football on right now except for internationals, and I could give a shit right now about the international friendlies. But we usually cover Premier League stuff as well, go through a bit of the notable fixtures, upsets, and scores, talk about players as well that look good throughout the weekend. Just shit like that. Just a good place to come hang out, talk football. So if you're interested, subscribe, and I'll see you every Monday at 7 p.m. But for now, I'll see you all on the next one. I'll catch you tomorrow on the news.